Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. So we're going to get into this madness right here. Oh, this is insane. All right, so the topic that we have here is a Dusty, Texas stalker, trucker, kills Clubhouse Podcaster. I can't pronounce the lady's name, and I cannot pronounce his name and everybody's name. But his name is Dusty. All right, so that's really, we don't have to worry about that. But make sure that you read the description so you get the people's names and everything, right?
He is Sam Dusty.
I don't know if they heard you. I don't have to think that. But okay. So this Dusty right here, right? And this Dusty, basically, he's been stalking this woman here that we see. Been stalking this woman for months. Yes, months. All right, months. And Jack brought this to my attention the other day, and I was like, this is insane. So I started doing my research. I'm like, yo, Jack, we got to talk about this because this is crazy. This is just crazy. Now, there's a lot of things to unpack about this. I hope I will be making sense, but y'all just work with me, okay? But right now, we're going to get into stalking. Yes, we're going to get into stalking. What exactly is stalking? All right? Now, this website that I came up with, and it's called Safe Horizon. And in this website here, it's a great website in case if you are a victim currently of stalking. All right, and it says right here, nationally 7.5 million people are stalked every year. That's a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. You hear this? Approximately 1 in 6 women and 1 in 17 men have experienced stalking at some point in their lifetime. So it's, women more than men, but men do get stalked too. All right. And I'm going to do a whole nother commentary about men being stalked, but we're not going to focus on that one today. Well, I have that for another day. All right. So stay tuned for that one. Oh, and I forgot to say, the people that's coming in and watching the replay, please make sure you hit the like button, share the video on your social media, and also share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Let me know. And also, if you want to get in contact with me, you can find my email in the description. And if you want to share with me, let me know, were you ever a victim of stalking? Anything like that? Or you can share it in the comment section, or you can share it with me privately. It's up to you. It's up to you. All right? Now let me go back to it. Stalking can happen to anyone. If it happens to you, we are here to help. Okay. Now I'm going to read this one here. And this is about signs of stalking. Most stalking is done by someone known to the victim, such as a current or former partner, yet some victims are stalked by complete strangers. Stalking can include a wide array of behaviors. Does someone always seem to be just around the corner when you are going to work or are out with friends or in your neighborhood? Does someone keep making unwanted phone calls to your home or work? Do you find signs that someone has been in or near your home, your car, or your workplace when you were not there? Are you receiving repeated letters, gifts, cards, social media posts, and emails even though you told the sender to stop sending them? Has someone tried to get information about you from a third person, like a family member, friend, or coworker? If someone's posting information or spreading rumors about you on the internet in a public place or by word of mouth. All right. So I thought that was very interesting. I'm gonna get ready to show a clip here, ladies and gentlemen. So give me a second here. All right. It's a lot to unpack because this is insane. All right. This is the low life right here. Okay. This Dusty trucker from Texas. And also he's been married. He's divorced. He has a 7-year-old daughter. And he was also harassing, there's criminal charges and being violent with his ex-wife. Yeah, figured he had a past. Most likely had one. Okay. So let me share the screen again. And I will greet the people that's in here. Just give me a second. Alrighty, let's just show this clip. I have a couple of clips for y'all, ladies and gentlemen, so work with me. Okay, let's show this clip right here. And the people that's in here, let me just greet real quick. Oh, did I see who just creeped up in here strong in the house? All right, so make sure everybody hit the like, share the video on your social media. And Angelina, and blessings to you. Glad to have you here. Then we have my co-host, the real Jack Newtown. Thank you again, like I said, bringing to my attention. I was driving nuts about this because I was like, this is crazy. All right, we got Lisa, my dear, hugs and kisses to you. And there go my mod on deck strong. Good, pleasant evening to everyone, and you too. And who else do we have up in here creeping in here? Okay, all right. And I see 603 in the house. Hugs to you, beautiful. Hugs to you. All right, let's get into this one. All right, let's get into this.
Let's get back into the headlines here. A developing story out of Washington. This is in the town of Redmond, which is outside of Seattle. That's where 3 people are confirmed dead after a suspected stalker broke into a home there. China Green with our Fox 13 Seattle team joins us live with the latest details. And China, what do we know so far?
Well, good morning. So what we know so far is, as you mentioned, 3 people are dead here this morning. It is a husband and a wife and that alleged stalker. We were told by Redmond PD that 3 people live inside the home. It is that husband and wife, as well as the mother of that wife. So officers were called to a call of shots fired here on 89th Street. The mother of the woman killed was able to escape the home, get out of the house, get to a neighbor's home, and call 911. Now, she told police this was a stalker situation. So we've learned that the 33-year-old woman was killed this morning, had been stalked for some time. According to police, she had a podcast, and that's how they met, ultimately developing some kind of relationship. She later filed a no-contact restraining order against him. Now fast forward to this morning. Police say the 38-year-old stalker broke into the home through a window, shot the woman's husband, shot her before turning the gun on himself. The woman's mother fought him off and was able to get away to call police at a neighbor's house. So when officers arrived, they found that husband in the front yard, shot in the chest. They were not able to save him. He was 35 years old. Inside the house, they found the bodies of the woman and the suspect. Now, what's important to note here is that the no contact order had not been served yet, as the stalker was apparently a truck driver and out of the area at the time. And as far as who was involved here this morning, the names of the victims and that alleged stalker, those names have not been released yet. But for now, we are live in Redmond. China Green, Fox 13 News, Seattle.
And have they given any indication on when there could potentially be a news conference or when more details will be released? Or at this point, is it kind of still up in the air?
Right now, it's kind of up in the air. You've been to scenes like this. Police aren't saying a whole lot. As soon as we arrived on scene, we were in connection.
And ladies and gentlemen, I will be showing the press conference one too. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do what I'm going to show next. All right, this is really sad, but there's a lot more to this story, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think she was over here meeting this guy on the side, and it got out of hand. You're a married woman. Why were you going to see this man? Help me to understand that. But we're going to get into that one. All right. I'm going to read this article to you. Ooh, what am I reading to y'all? The Daily Mail. I can't stand it. Daily Mail so much goddamn advertisement. All right. Let's get into this Daily Mail. All right, where am I, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, so let me take off this banner so y'all can be able to see it just a little bit better. Okay, now I have this the Daily Mail. Okay. Now, this Daily Mail, this came out, when did it come out? It came out March 11th, 2023. Revealed. Texas trucker, 38, stalked, married Seattle tech podcaster, 33, for 18 months by parking outside her home, bombarding her with flowers, texts, and calls before breaking into the home to shoot her husband, and himself after he reported him. Okay. The Texas trucker stalked stalker who killed a Seattle podcaster and her husband in their home last night after climbing through a window had been harassing her for 18 months, chilling court records obtained by the DailyMail.com revealed. Now, the lady, I can't pronounce her name, but the lady 33, a self-styled techie, was shot and killed by a trucker, the dusty lowlife 38, last night in her home in Redmond, Washington. He climbed through the window at 2 a.m. and shot the pair, then himself. Son of a gun. All right. The girl's mother. So her mother was living with them, right? So basically, the mother was able to get away. So she jumped out the window, and when she jumped out the window, she just jumped out the window. She went to the neighbor's house to go and get some help. So thank God that she was able to get some help. All right, what are you up to? I'm so sorry. Give me a second. This is stop me. Okay. I apologize there. Where the heck am I at? Okay, he climbed through the window. Okay, what I was just saying. Let's go over here. All right. Then the husband, 35, he who had worked as a lead software engineer for Amazon, was also killed. Police said that this dusty trucker first found her through a podcast about finding work in the tech and became so obsessed with her that she filed a restraining order against him. This dusty trucker was okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't think they
Read your chat. I'm sorry.
Oh, so
Read your chat.
Can you can hear me? What happened? Oh. You want to say something, Jack? Because I'm going to have to change the switch it. Okay. Let me go back to reading. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Just hold a second.
Read your chat.
What happened in the chat? Am I missing somebody? Somebody being disrespectful?
Read the private chat.
Oh, these are that one. Oh, okay. You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get rid of this one. Okay, we're going to do this another way. All right, hold on just a second. I'm so sorry. Everything's just going so full. Okay. All right, let me just finish this article. All right, let me just go here. All right, police said that this dusty lowlife first found her through a podcast about finding work in the tech and became so obsessed with her that he had filed a restraining order against him. This dusty trucker was divorced with a child, but had no prior criminal records. Court records obtained by the DailyMail.com describe how the pair met in person in 2022 and how she hid some of the interactions from her husband. Now, if she's saying she hid some interactions, what does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? She was over here meeting this guy. She met him on this social media app, what's called Clubhouse. They probably started talking. And then the next thing you know, they decide to meet. And when did they meet? Hold it just a second. So I know I wrote down in my notes here. When did they meet? I'll get back to it later on or whatever. I'll get back to it later on. All right, so they did meet up with each other. So I guess after they had met each other, he became obsessed over her. He probably wanted a relationship. She probably was telling him, look, now these are all my thoughts and opinions. I'm just going by these different articles that I'm reading. She probably told him, look, I'm not leaving my husband, I'll be my husband. So he started stalking. He started coming over to the house. He was dropping off flowers. He dropped off, I think, some jewelry. And he also was going to pay a band for 2 hours to be out in front of their home, in front of her home, to serenade her some jazz music. Do you hear this? This is insane. This is really insane. This man is sick as he can be. All right, let me see who else was up in here. Oh, Melanie, hugs and kisses to you. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, now there was something else I want to show you. I want to show you the press conference. So give me a second here. Let me share that one. Where am I? Okay, I'm getting ready to show you the press conference with the sheriff. So let's watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it.
Work for everybody. We need sound checks or anything, or
I'll have you come up to the mic, yeah.
beautiful. All right, so Darrell, D-A-R-R-E-L-L, Lowe, L-O-W-E, Redmond Police Chief. So let me start by offering my condolences to the family of the victims, acknowledging the impact to the Redmond community and the aftermath of this tragic event. Last night around 1:45 a.m., officers responded to the 16700 block of Northeast 89th Street regarding shots fired. Officers were met by a neighbor and the mother of one of the victims and directed them to the home. As officers approached the front of the home, a male later identified as the husband of the victim was seen in a doorway. As officers tried to communicate with him, he collapsed and became unresponsive. Officers evacuated him from the front of the house and realized that he had been shot. CPR was started and he was handed over to paramedics and unfortunately was pronounced dead at the scene. Officers formed a search team and entered the location understanding that there were two other individuals located inside the home. The officers discovered a female deceased from a gunshot wound and a male deceased from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound in the master bedroom. The Redmond Police Department is familiar with both the victim and suspect in this case because of an active stalking investigation that was occurring. A protection order was obtained by the Redmond City prosecutor, but had yet been served on the suspect because his whereabouts were unknown. The detectives had been in frequent contact with the victim and her family throughout this investigation. The victim initially contacted the Redmond Police Department in December of 2022 because of the actions of the suspect, and again mid-January in 2023 because the actions of the suspect had intensified. The suspect and victim met via a podcast type of chat app platform that was specifically for Farsi-speaking individuals seeking employment in the tech industry. At this time, the Washington State Patrol is assisting Redmond police detectives with processing the scene, and the names of the victim and suspect will be provided by the coroner's office after they take possession of the bodies. And with that, I'll open it up to a few questions.
Can you tell us more about this man who did this? Is stalker, crazed fan? I mean, what was kind of the fascination that he had with the white pool?
It's unclear what the fascination was. As I indicated, they met through this chat platform, and that is how contact was initially established.
And Chief, was this the chat platform through Twitter? Can you?
It was not Twitter. As I understand it, it was an application called Clubhouse.
His occupation, is it a truck driver?
Long-haul truck driver.
And not from this area?
I understand he was from the state of Texas.
If she had sought a restraining order months ago,
Donna,
what was the delay?
I'm sorry.
So the restraining order was sought at the beginning of March as the investigation got to that point. And I would just remind the public that a restraining order is simply a piece of paper that allows officers to take.
You want to say something, Jack?
Yeah, I noticed the reporter. Oh, I'm echoing.
Oh, oh gosh. Hold a second. I'm sorry, Dan. Okay, go ahead. It should be clear now.
Is it better now? Okay, I
Yes.
don't hear echo. Okay, cool. I noticed the reporter. Okay, okay.
That was me. Go on, go. I'm sorry. I was just saying hi to Renee. Go on, go on.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Notice the reporter. The first thing came out of her mouth was Twitter. But I mean, Facebook and Clubhouse and YouTube and all these other apps have been doing this. Twitter is like you just tweet something and bam, that's it. It's not exactly, well, now it is, but it's not exactly a podcasting station. And I noticed that's the first thing they'll go for ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's in Seattle, Washington. I just pick up on things like that. Other people may not pick up on stuff like that, but the reporter already has a bias as we speak.
And Williams, what he says, I broke up with my girl because her ex-husband was stalking her. The drama wasn't worth it. Gosh, thank you for sharing that, William. Wow, okay, let's resume because this is kind of long. Let me get finish this one up. Wow.
Enforcement action should a suspect violate the court order, but a piece of paper does not protect a person when someone is intent on causing them harm.
Along with that, I mean, if someone else is in this situation now and they just hear you say it's just a piece of paper, what is your message to any other stalking victims out there who just heard what you said?
So the message to them is, just in this case, as this victim did, to work closely with investigators to allow us to seek that restraining order so we can take enforcement action should a suspect violate it. But I do not want to create a false sense of security just because a restraining order or a protective order is obtained, that is some type of shield, that it is important for them to report each and every violation of that court order so that we can actually, so that the prosecutor can then actually bring that person forward for justice based upon violating that court order.
So how else can people protect themselves, especially women in this situation?
So in this situation, again, to work closely with your law enforcement partners. In this particular case, as I said, the detectives had been in contact with them. They talked about additional security measures that they could and did take to protect themselves in their home by way of security cameras, etc. So in this case, the victim did everything that they possibly could. Unfortunately, this person, broke into their home and killed her, and it is a tragic event.
What were some of the challenges when trying to contact the suspect in this stalking investigation? What were those barriers since he was mobile?
Those are the
Sorry, it's
exact
kinda low. Hope
challenges
y'all
that
can
we
hear me.
faced, that this was an individual who, by virtue of his profession, moved from place to place. So it was difficult to, I'll say, pin him down to a location. It wasn't as though he was local and we had a local address to where we could either do surveillance or find him, serve the protective order, etc. He was in a different state, traveled across the country as part of his employment. So that was the biggest challenge.
Can you talk about the nature of the stalking? I mean, how many calls a day?
Hold on one
was he actually
second.
coming to her home? What was happening?
So as I understand it,
That's not a big challenge at all. All they need to do is find his driver's license and his residence. That's it. I mean,
We're
this
gonna
is
get
nothing.
into that. Jack,
This is child's play.
Let me finish this one part. We're gonna get ready to get
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that's fine. Okay.
I'm trying to be good. Because this just doesn't add up, Jack. Doesn't add up. Okay, reason.
in one of the reports, she reported over 100 contacts in a single day. There were instances where the individual did show up at the location previously, bearing gifts. There were
To the people that's coming in here, welcome, mods. Thank you for holding it down. And also, make sure you read the description. Everybody hit the like. And the people's watching replay, make sure you hit the like and share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Let's get it. And you see a number right here. Check out that number if you're in need of any help. Resume.
items that were, I'll say items of affection, gifts, etc., that were actually mailed to the victim.
And Chief, can you talk a little bit about, obviously violent crimes in Redmond, fairly rare. Can you talk a little bit about just what went through your mind when you heard the details about this case, especially a case where the family was trying to take the best steps possible to protect themselves? Obviously, it's a case that brought you out there to the scene here.
So again, it's tragic. I had been briefed on the case earlier this week by our investigators, and hearing about it and hearing all the steps that had been taken prior to the briefing and prior to last night, and the advice that had been given to the victim and her family. I am proud of my investigators and the efforts that they undertook, because this was a misdemeanor stalking case, but the investigator, I'll say, had it in her gut that this was more than that, and really tried to do everything possible to keep the victim and her family safe.
Chief, if I'm getting this right, so you heard about this case even before this murder? It was brought to your attention earlier this week before everything happened here?
Correct. As part of our normal operations, I received briefings from my investigators of open and ongoing cases, of which this was one.
Hold up. I had to pause for this. Hold a second. All right. Paulina, Pauline's daughter. My mom and I love the mother and daughter on here. Oh, I love it. I love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. My mom and I were stalked one time by a man who followed us from Las Vegas. He was arrested. They found a mattress and zip ties in the car. God was watching over that day. Oh my gosh. Oh, God is good. Oh my gosh, He is so good. Ooh, that's chilling. Thank God. Thank you for sharing that. All right, resume.
And so I was aware of it on Tuesday before this event occurred last night.
Can you tell us, obviously this is the absolute worst case scenario when it comes to stalking. We uncovered in the court docs, I guess there was a protection order. There was one time where he threatened to burn himself alive and light the trees on fire. You've been doing this a while. From your juncture, this is the worst case scenario.
Absolutely. This is the absolute worst outcome, for a stalking case. This is every victim, every detective, every police chief's worst nightmare.
Can you go over again how the mother did have an encounter with this man? How did she escape?
So, as I understand it, the suspect broke into the home via a bedroom window, that bedroom being the mother's. She did encounter the suspect. She was aware of what was occurring, and she knew or realized that she needed to get out and get help. So she got out, went to a neighbor's house, and called 911.
Chief, when was the last time we had a homicide here?
As your colleague said, it does not happen very often here in Redmond. I want to say 2021, perhaps.
None last year, though, for sure. 2022.
No.
And you said you believe the suspect had committed misdemeanors before that. Can you walk us through what specific crimes have been committed and what power police have in this case to do anything about it?
So this was deemed to be a misdemeanor stalking case because of the actions of the suspect up to the point of last night. And with that, with misdemeanor cases, those are handled by a city prosecutor as opposed to the King County prosecutor. And just that, it's at the misdemeanor level. So we can we can arrest the person. That's why we sought the protective order. We were, attempting to locate the subject, so he in fact could be arrested and served with that protection order.
What happens now? I know we're waiting on confirmation of their identity. Where does this all leave you and your team?
So again, it leaves us, deeply saddened by the outcome. And at this point, we'll continue working with our partners, both at State Patrol and the Medical Examiner's Office, to finish processing and clear the scene. And then over the course of the weekend, we will work with the mother to ensure that she has the resources and services she needs to move forward at this difficult time in her life, securing her property, et cetera, and then securing the location.
Chief, can you talk about the red truck that was towed away?
At this point, we believe that may have been the vehicle that the suspect arrived in the area in.
Chief, I know you said that a restraining order is just a document, it's just a piece of paper. But if this had not happened and if you had been able to serve that restraining order, would you have been able to arrest this man and put him behind bars?
We would have been able to arrest him. The putting him behind bars part, that would be up to the jail because it is a misdemeanor depending upon, capacity, etc. But by arresting the individual, our goal and our hope would be that they would understand the seriousness of it and that would help to either stop the behavior completely or significantly mitigate it. Last question.
There's a hearing. There was supposed to be a hearing a week from today, right, on this case. Do I have that right?
I don't know. That would all be contingent upon him being served with a protection
If he
order.
had been served, then
Correct.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me read my little notes that I have here. Oh, what the heck did I do with them? Well, I thought I had them. Yes, I thought I had them. Yes, I found them. Okay, let me get into my notes here. All right. And Jack, do you have that email that I sent you? You can read that crazy list. Oh my gosh, there's so much.
Yeah, I'll read it off right now.
Okay, you want to do that now? All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me stop this one here. And all right. Wow.
Okay.
Hold it just a second.
I would have advised not to put out of you mark it out because there's some actual numbers on there. Did you check that?
You talking about the email I sent you?
Well, I mean, let me double check.
Well, just read the one that said the important dates, not the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just read the important date. I know I sent you two, but just read the important dates.
Okay.
All right.
I have the important dates right here. So
Awesome. Okay. Well, these are the important dates that's up, and this is what's on the Daily Mail, and these are the dates that she was keeping a record of every time that he was stalking her and harassing her. And ladies and gentlemen, when you're in a situation of being stalked and harassed, you have to keep a journal, keep dates and times, because that really does help out a lot. Okay. All right. So Jack is going to quickly go through these. It's a lot. So Jack is going to go through because I just want you to basically get the feel of how long she was being harassed. All right, go ahead, Jack. You got it.
all right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well. Thank you.
All right. There's 25 important dates. List of 25 of them. The first one is verbally told Mr. Sandusty to leave me alone. November 6, 2022. Another one, verbally told Mr. Khodakaramrezi to leave me alone. 8th November 2022. Blocked the numbers I had November 10, 2022. Blocked all numbers in social media November 13, 2022. I continue to receive messages from different numbers and accounts and had to keep blocking. Mr. Khodakaramrezi sent a text saying Mr. Khodakaramrezi wants to talk. I told Mr. Khodakaramrezi I can't talk. November 18, 2022. I told Mr. Khodakaramrezi that I don't want to hear his voice or talk to Mr. Khodakaramrezi through text. November 20, 2022. Mr. Khodakaramrezi called me from an inner inn near my house, November 21st, 2022.
God, dude.
Khodakaramrezi called on a private number. I answered, and when I found out it was Mr. Khodakaramrezi, I told Mr. Khodakaramrezi not to call and leave me alone. Mr. Khodakaramrezi told me I was in my neighborhood. I asked Mr. Khodakaramrezi to go away. November 21st, 2022. Mr. Khodakaramrezi called on a private number again. I told Mr. Khodakaramrezi to leave me alone. November 22nd, 2022. I blocked all private numbers. I blocked the number for a voicemail from T-Mobile. Mr. Khodakaramrezi sent the text implying Mr. Khodakaramrezi was around my house through the Telegram app, December 4, 2022. Mr. Khodakaramrezi sent a text stating that Mr. Khodakaramrezi was in my neighborhood through the Telegram app, December 8, 2022. Mr. Khodakaramrezi called from a nearby inn December 2nd, 2022. Mr. Kodo Dusty, called by a nearby inn, December 3rd, 2022. I had surgery, December 13th, 2022. Mohammed Mil Nasir left for Australia, December 20, 2022. Mr. Kodo Dusty came to my door and brought flowers a few minutes after Mohammed Bilad Nasir left for Australia. That must be her husband, December 20th, 2022. I called the police, December 20, 2002. Mr. Kodo Dusty sent me jewelry, was delivered on the 3rd January 2023. Not sure the exact date because I couldn't walk to check mail sometimes between January 2nd to January 5th. I called the police. Mr. Kodo Dusty was given warning by the police January 16, 2023. Mr. Kodo Dusty called from a hotel in Nevada January 22nd, 2023. Mr. Kodo Dusty sent me a neck scarf, picked it up on February 20, 2023 from FedEx. Police officers took the neck scarf as evidence on February 21st, 2023. The gift was opened with police present.
She's been harassed for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit of my notes that I have right here, okay? Because where am I at? Yeah, a little bit of my notes here. Why is this man over here? All right. Okay, what I already said about the husband. Husband's 35 years old and who works as a lead software engineer for Amazon, who was also killed. All right, Lowell, that the one that you just seen, the sheriff that was just talking, or chief of sheriff, whatever. Lowell said that the investigators first became aware of the crazed stalker in December of 2022 and worked closely with the family. A protection order was filed with the city attorney with the hearing scheduled for March 17th. Now, listen to what I'm saying. March 17th, they were supposed to go to a hearing. That's why he exploded. He knew he was done. So he was like, everybody got to die. You get it? Listen to the timestamps, okay? Timeline. However, Lowe said that it was challenging serving an order to the suspect was a long-haul truck driver, always traveling the country for work. I think it's a bunch of BS. Okay, and this information I'm reading, it came from the Fox 13 News. This was published March the 10th, 2023. And also I got notes from here is the date that they met in person, according to the protection order against him, the woman met him in June of 2020. Why is a married woman going to see this Dusty? That's what I'm trying to understand. See? Now, with her doing something like this, she endangered other people. So now the husband, he ends up getting killed. All right? He ends up getting killed. This is ridiculous. Because I knew there was more to the story. All right, they met in June of 2022, and the constant and harassing messages and calls started shortly after. The order claims that the dusty truck driver would leave several messages a day and a week and would contact friends of the woman. He also was able to obtain her address and the addresses of her friends. This is crazy. So he got her friend's address and everything. Address of her friends, despite never being told them according to the order. Several times he threatened to burn himself outside her home if she didn't see him. So he was going to set himself on fire in front of her house. This is crazy. He said the only way he would stop contacting me if he's dead. That is also the voice message that he kept sending me. That he won't let me go, and the only thing that make all this stop if he killed himself or died. The woman wrote in the petition to get the non-contact order. You see, are y'all following with me? So what I'm gathering from this whole situation, she has a Clubhouse. She's a podcaster on a Clubhouse. He contacted her. He said, I'm one of your biggest fans. Okay. They started communicating behind the scenes. Then they got together. What is it? In June 2022. What did y'all do? Why were y'all in contact? Alrighty, let's see what else we got here. Court records from the Texas shows that this dusty truck driver leaves behind a 7-year-old daughter. He didn't want to live for his own daughter. True Dusty, who was living with his ex-wife. Documents of the petition for the non-contact order indicates that this dusty trucker has a history of domestic violence. Hold a second, everybody. Okay, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. What else is said? All right, this dusty truck driver has a history of domestic violence with his ex-wife. All right, Fox 12 staff. Their article came out March 10th, 2023. Key points. Court record shows that this lady and her husband's lawyer told the judge last week that he wasn't sure whether this dusty trucker owns a weapon, but believes that he might have one or whatever the deal is. And we already do know that he did have himself a weapon. So this is what happens when you go out here and dip. Now, these are all my thoughts and opinions. I don't know. I don't hang out with her. I didn't break no bread with her or anything like that. But it sounds like, why was she going to meet him? Explain it to me. Then also, her husband went out of town. And she was home alone. And he started sending her flowers, started sending jewelry and stuff like that. She had some surgery, so she was home alone. He had a business trip. I don't know, whatever the deal was, whatever reason why he had disappeared. All right, Jack, you have anything you want to share? I'm going to show another clip. Jack? Oh, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just give me a second. I'm going to show something else here. Just give me a second here. All right, we're going to watch this clip here. Let's get it.
We want to bring in now former FBI agent and CIA officer Tracy Walder. Tracy, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
And what a terrible story. And I think, Tracy, one of the things that is so striking here is that Sadeghi seemed to do everything right. She kept copious records of all of this. She reported it to police, actively obtaining that no contact restraining order. Why was it all ultimately not enough to prevent these murders?
So, Natasha, you're absolutely correct. I believe she did really everything right. She filed that no contact order. And while I do understand that it was probably difficult to serve as you're crossing state lines since he's a long haul trucker, she really had done an incredible job of documenting all of these attempts by him to basically harass her. But I think, to put it very bluntly, the problem is a restraining order, protective order, those kinds of things. Those are a piece of paper, and they do allow police a broad range to be able to actually act if those are violated, if those orders are violated. But the reality is someone who is bent on doing something like this does not necessarily care about that piece of paper. And I think that that's what happened here.
Yeah, and police saying that the nature of his job, him being a long distance trucker, made it very difficult for them to surveil him, to find him, to serve that protection order. What is your read on this? Could police have done more here?
You know, I think that that's an excellent question, and I've been thinking about that. I think of short of involving the FBI, who typically does not become involved in domestic violence kind of cases and stalking cases, I'm not certain how much more they could have done. In terms of surveilling him and those kinds of things, that would have taken no
All right. Melanie said, I'm so sorry. Can anybody fill in the blanks for me? She died, and who else? The woman died and her husband died, and the woman's mother was living with them, but she escaped out the window, whatever she did, and she ran over to the neighbor's house and she called 911. So she's alive. But he came in, he broke into the house in the middle of the night, well, about 2 o'clock in the morning. He broke in, climbed through the window. He shot her, then shot the husband. But I guess the husband was able to walk outside, because he walked outside. He passed out in the front lawn. This monster, this dusty piece of crap. Resume.
Notifying other police departments and knowing his trucking schedule. One of the things they could have done was gone to his employer, the trucking company that hired him, and found out what his schedule was. But they would need a warrant to be able to do that, and I'm not certain that that warrant was ever applied for. If it was and they received it, then that could have been a potential gold mine for them to be able to stop this.
And reports indicate that the attacker leaves behind a 7-year-old daughter and ex-wife, and that there is a history of domestic violence with that ex-wife as well. How common is it for violence against women to be a pattern, to be habitual? And was that a red flag that should have been acted on before something like this happened?
So the reality is it depends. It depends on what his ex-wife had done to document the abuse that she suffered at his hands. I'm not surprised that he engaged in that kind of behavior, but I think that the reality is if that was not documented, that may not have been followed up on. I mean, look, we know about 13.5 women in the United States are stalked every single year, and only about 20% of those that unfortunately are killed by their stalkers have these protective orders. And so it really depends on what documentation was filed.
And I want to speak to these statistics we're looking at. I mean, stalking cases not uncommon. We were just seeing 1 in 6 women have experienced this. 1 in 17 men have experienced stalking in their lifetimes. I know both you and I know what it's like to receive unwanted, persistent messages from strangers. So let's say that this does escalate to the point where you feel you need to notify police, but you still feel unsafe. Maybe you get a piece of paper, but you know ultimately that is not going to protect you. Is there any recourse here? What more can an individual do to stay safe?
So thank you for asking that question, because I think one of the things, particularly when you have a stalker, is taking back ownership, to yourself, having some control over the situation yourself. And a lot of states do have address confidentiality programs. I really recommend that folks look into those in their state if they feel that they are being stalked or are the victim of domestic abuse. It's very helpful in terms of concealing your address and making it very difficult for people to find. Another thing you can do is something as simple as changing your phone number to an unknown number. I think that's something that's very good to do. Also, another thing is to notify your neighbors. I know sometimes that can be a difficult conversation to have, but they can also be folks who can alert you to any suspicious activity that's going on in your neighborhood. So I think that those are 3 things that someone can do to really make themselves feel a bit more safe in this very difficult situation that they're in.
Yeah, we know that it was a neighbor's house that the mother who survived ultimately ran to and called 911 from. But such a tragedy. We appreciate your insight and time as always. Tracy Walder, thank you.
Thank you.
Marlene, this is what I'm thinking too. The wife stirred up a relationship with this guy, but decided she didn't want him anymore. But he said he can't have you. Nobody else will. Typical abuse thinking. Yep, that's what I think. Because they met up. Why did they meet up? And then also was one of the articles. I don't know if I read it in my notes, but one of the articles said that she was hiding stuff, or did we say it that she was hiding stuff from her husband? So there was stuff that her husband didn't know. Well, why, if it was all innocent, meeting this guy, why your husband don't know? What were you doing? Do I see Realist creep through the back door? Realist done creep through the back door. Hugs and kisses to you, and blessings, brother, blessings. What you said, Jack? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So she actually met the guy.
Yep, she met the guy. That's what I have in my notes here.
Oh, you think?
She met the guy, and then they also said, I have so much notes. I'm sorry. This live stream is totally all over the place.
Did she give him the
video. Huh?
Did they say she gave him the cookies?
No, they didn't say nothing about the cookies, but they said that she didn't tell her husband certain things. Why are you not telling your husband? See, you know how it goes,
Yeah.
Jack. We're not supposed to talk ill about the dead. We can't say things, but I'm sorry. We have to call it as it is. It is what it is. This woman basically met this guy on this podcast. She had her little podcast on Clubhouse, and what I'm hearing is, she had a very successful podcast or whatever it was. He got, whatever, and he contacted her and says, "I'm a big fan of yours." They probably was, messing each other behind the scenes and decided to hook up. She might have gave him some cookies. He went crazy.
What type of podcasting she did?
Well, they saying it's a tech podcaster, but one thing I read that she was a holistic. It was holistic. So I don't know which one it was. Holistic medicine, something like that.
I didn't know you had holistics.
Yeah, something like that. I was reading. That's what I put down in my thing. Then something else I was reading that she was a techie, I guess, helping people get in the tech industry or whatever, helping with jobs. But whatever it was, he said, "I'm a big fan." She he said, I believe this, Don. Yeah, I think that's what went down, Marlene. You feel it too. I mean, it just put two and two together. Just put two and two together. She went out here. She was dipping on her husband. And another thing too is she must have been saying things about her husband because this man felt mighty comfortable to be coming to the house. Because in one article they were saying that he was like staying at the inns, like hotels, motels, whatever in the area. He would be passing by, driving back and forth just to get a glimpse of her. This woman has a husband. He didn't have no fear. So she's probably running around here was talking bad about her husband. Oh, he doesn't give me enough attention. He's this type of guy. So he feels like, I'll be the man. I'll be the man for you. And then she realized, wait a minute, this is getting out of control. I got to get rid of him. And he figures, well, you're going to get rid of me. I'm going to get rid of you first. And I'm going to get rid of your husband. You see? This is what happens when you go out and cheat people. Okay.
I'm reading the comment on here about Marlene. She says holistic. Sometimes it's a cover. Sometimes for a massage. So she's giving out holistic massages.
What, Jack? Be nice. What you said? You didn't have to emphasize on that when I caught that. You were cheating on your husband, girlfriend. You were cheating on him. Why you was holding back? Why you didn't go with your husband to go and meet him? Why are you meeting these people on the thing? You're a married woman. You're not supposed to be doing it. Would you have been okay if your husband going out here had a podcast and he meet other women out there? Would that be okay? I don't think so. Yep. So I think this is one of those things, one of those crime of passions. Basically, crime of passion. Let me see. Do I have anything else here in my notes? I think I read all my notes here. Yeah. So basically, I think that's what just summing up that they she had her podcast. He got charmed by her voice or whatever it is because it's an audio Clubhouse, nothing but an audio podcast, and he messaged her. He said something. She got all giggly. Maybe her husband's not giving her no attention, so this guy was giving her attention. She felt a little lonely. She wanted to, get her little cookies, baked. I don't know. What the heck? I don't know what I'm saying right now. And she went out there. All right.
Roasted. You talking about baked?
Yep.
You mean, was it air fried?
Jack, stop.
Air baked.
How are we supposed to take this seriously?
Real. And
you meeting up. Exactly. Because when Jack told me about this, I read one article, the article he sent me, and I'm like, wait a minute, something just crazy. But don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. You can do nothing, and a person could just be obsessed over you and start stalking you and act crazy. That can happen. But it was something about this. I'm like, but she got a husband? And he still felt comfortable enough to be coming around like that. But you do got some bold ones. You must have said something that he felt. And then come to find out, she didn't say something. She went to go meet this man in June. And then one of the articles that I was reading was saying that she didn't tell her husband everything. See? So now what happened is this man dies. And his parents is upset. He got a mother and father, they hurt. He probably got some siblings, they hurt. Mother probably saying, I told you should have never married that woman. There was something wrong with her. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. All right. So I think I'm gonna let me show one more clip and then I'm gonna let y'all ladies and gentlemen go. I won't hold y'all here. I'm so sorry. This is all over the place. My notes and everything. I really apologize all the delays and everything. So let me see what the next one I'm gonna show you, the next clip. Yep, this one was out here dipping. You know, do y'all remember, ladies and gentlemen, when I did that story of that woman in Queens, New York with the blonde hair and she's messing around with the handyman? And he came over there and butchered her up and threw in the son's soccer bag or whatever it was and dumped on the side of the road. Yeah, yeah. Thank God he didn't kill the son. And at that time her husband was out of town because he was taking the oldest son to, to go around to different colleges. So thank God nothing happened to them. All right, I'm gonna show you all this last news clip here. Okay, I'm gonna show you all this last news clip here. Yeah, the PG, was she? That was crazy. Okay. Wait, what am I at? Where am I at? Okay, where we at? All right, let's just watch this news clip. Let's hear a little bit more about this one. Okay. Homeless. I can't. Resume. Let's get it.
Fox, and I want to get back to a story that we brought you as breaking news just yesterday. We checked in with our Fox 13 Seattle team to get the latest information. We now know that 3 people are dead after a suspected stalker broke into a Redmond, Washington home and killed a podcaster and her husband. That information from police. The woman's mother survived the attack, escaped, and called 911. The shooting happening at a home on 166th Street Northeast and Northeast 89th Street, if you are familiar with the area, on Friday morning, very early, about 2 a.m. According to Redmond police, officers responded after a...
What BG said cops was holding back. He knew. Yeah, he know. So sad. See, this is the point I'm trying to say. I'm gonna get my closing thoughts at the end. Let me resume this.
A woman called 911 at a neighbor's home to report a stalking situation. When officers arrived at the scene, they found a 35-year-old man who lived at the home in the front yard, and he had been fatally shot in the chest. When officers entered that home, they found the man's 33-year-old wife and that suspected stalker both dead after being shot. I do want to play for you our Fox 13 Seattle team's latest story that breaks down the information we have so far.
In the first homicide in the city of Redmond since 2021, a crazed stalker obsessed with a woman killed her and her husband before turning the gun on himself.
This is the absolute worst outcome, for a stalking case.
Police Chief Darrell Lowe says this man, 38-year-old Ramin from Texas, is the suspect. He came to the neighborhood in this red truck Tuesday overnight.
The suspect broke into the home via a bedroom window, that bedroom being the mother's. She did encounter the suspect. She was aware of what was occurring, and she knew or realized that she needed to get out and get help.
Police say the mother of the wife ran for her life to a neighbor's house to call 911. When officers arrived, the mother and neighbor led them to the home.
As officers approached the front of the home, a male later identified as the husband of the victim was seen in the doorway. As officer tried to communicate with him, he collapsed and became unresponsive. Officers evacuated him from the front of the house and realized he had been shot.
First working to save his life, but he sued. During the investigation, officers found the man's wife shot in the master bedroom, dead from shooting himself. The petition for third is Ramin 10 times a week, sending gifts and flowers to her home, even saying he hired a jazz band to play outside her house for 2 hours, but then called it off. The documents say the suspect would also leave her husband 20 messages a day. He even found her friends' addresses and phone numbers without their permission. Chief Lowe says a restraining order was officially filed with the city's prosecuting attorney's office with a hearing scheduled for March 17th.
A restraining order is simply a piece of paper that allows officers to take enforcement action should a suspect violate the court order, but a piece of paper does not protect a person when someone is intent on causing them harm. Chief
Chief Lowe says it was challenging serving the order to Ramin because he was a long-haul truck driver, always traveling the country for work.
It was difficult to, I'll say, pin him down to a location. It wasn't as though he was local and we had a local address to where we could either do surveillance or find him, serve the protective order, et cetera. He was in a different state, traveled across the country as part of his employment. So that was the biggest challenge.
Chief Lowe says the woman and her family worked very closely with detectives since becoming aware of the crazed stalking situation in December 2022, even adding extra surveillance cameras to the home.
In this case, the victim did everything that they possibly could. Unfortunately, this person, broke into their home and killed her. And it is a tragic event.
Frankie Thompson, Fox 13 News.
Thank you so much to our Fox 13 Seattle team for breaking down the very disturbing details that we have learned here. You heard that according to the protection order against that shooter, the woman met him in June of last year, and the constant and harassing messages and calls started shortly after that. The order does claim that he would leave several messages a day and a week and would contact friends of the woman. He also was able to obtain her address and the addresses of her friends, despite never being told about them. Several times he threatened to burn himself, they say, outside of her home if she didn't see him. So this brings up a very important topic here. What should you do if you're a victim of stalking? Our Fox 13 Seattle team takes a dive into why you should never just ignore it and hope it goes away.
And that means if you feel that something is not right, ask for help. Ignoring it and hoping that it fades away will not work in stalking situations. Confronting a stalker early could potentially save your life.
What's happening with that other person's behavior that's making you feel this way? Why is it inappropriate? Most of the time, we have fear when somebody has violated a social norm.
These are the questions Cheryl Michaels wants you to ask yourself if you think you're dealing with a stalker. She's the director of safety and security at Seattle Pacific University. Michaels says if you find yourself trying to talk yourself out of believing in your gut feeling, consider that a red flag on its own.
The trauma, the fear of what could happen really is a strong motivator to how we respond to it. And often it's to try to ignore it and make it go away. Ignore our feelings, our intuition that is telling us something's wrong here and we need to act.
That act should be reaching out to friends and family, or if it escalates, calling law enforcement. Stalking, by definition, is repeated unwanted attempts at communication, contact, or even harassment.
And the worst thing we can do is ignore our gut feeling that says, don't answer that call. And after 30 attempts, we're like, okay, if I just answer this phone call, after 30 times, then maybe they'll stop. And all that's done is taught the person who's obsessed that all they have to do is be persistent for 30 times. And then eventually they'll get to make that connection.
Michael says once you make a decision not to engage, you need to stick with it. Consistency is crucial with people who display obsessive behavior. If they continue to pursue contact, keep a record of what they're saying, because that often is what makes the contact a crime.
With stalking and the law that's written for stalking, it has to be something that has more criminal intent involved, like threats to damage your property, threats to harm you or a friend. It can't just be the mere phone call or text message, because then we just have harassment.
According to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, 1 in every 3 women and 1 in every 6 men have been stalked at some point in their lives. Here in King County, we do not have information for 2022 yet, but the latest data available shows that there were 20 civil protection orders issued for stalking in 2021. That is up from just 10 issued in 2020. In the newsroom, Nikki Torres, Fox 13 News.
Wow. It's a lot of people that get stalked. A lot. So sad. So sad. All right, that's all the clips I wanted to show. Jack, do you have a closing thought here? Anything you want to say about this whole situation before
I had no idea that she was messing around with Mr. Stalker, Mr.
I mean,
Dusty Stalker.
we don't know. We just know. That's our thoughts and
It's
opinions.
just, I mean, it's unfortunate that this tragedy happened. It was evil, despicable, destructive, inhumane. But I'll say that unfortunately, this woman put her family in danger and resulted in her life, her husband's life. Luckily, her mother was able to escape.
And thank God they don't have any children. You know that children could have been in danger, or they just don't have mother and dad, mommy and daddy no more. Because I didn't hear nothing about kids.
Because I was thinking he would just randomly just infatuate with her and stalked her and all that stuff. That's one thing, but to sit there and interact with this guy and then end up meeting him in person, and then you pull back from it. I mean, it's kind of like that movie, The Thin Line Between Love and Hate.
Exactly. Yeah, it just really doesn't add up. Hold a second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's just about it. I want to show it. I'm so sorry everything was just so all over the place today. But I just want to share this one because when Jack brought this to my attention, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? It's like something didn't add up. Kept contacting Jack's like, I'm reading more about this. She went to go and see this man. So the bottom, what did Strong said? Strong said, when he said he wanted to set himself on fire, she should have thrown him some lighter fluid and a lighter out the window. I'm done. But I agree. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so basically what I just gathered from this story, from the different articles that I was reading, she has a podcast. It seemed like it was a very successful one on Clubhouse. Clubhouse is phenomenal. I like Clubhouse. Jack and I be on Clubhouse. We do commentary on there. And whatever, this guy reached out to her, said, I'm one of your biggest fans. She was like, oh. They was contacting each other. The little messages on the side. You're a married woman. They decided to meet in June of 2022. We don't know what happened, what they did. But if she was hiding it from her husband, she wasn't telling him everything. That means she was doing something that a married woman wasn't supposed to be doing. So I guess he figured, we're not going to end this relationship. I'm the man for you. And see, he was already crazy because they said that, there was domestic violence issues with his ex-wife. And this man has a 7-year-old daughter. He didn't want to live with his daughter. He didn't care. He was just a lonely, crazy, dusty truck driver. And he was listening to her podcast. And she ended up decided to have a little affair or whatever. And she messed with the wrong man. So now she's dead and her husband don't have nothing to do with this. End up dying. And her mother could have almost died too. But thankfully she was able to jump out the window to go and get some help. But it's still traumatizing. And this is really sad. It really is. It really is sad. So, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, the whole point I'm just trying to say is just be careful the actions that you do. I mean, this is all my thoughts and opinions. I could be completely wrong, but when I read that article and it said that she was holding stuff from her husband, red flag, red flag. And you know how it goes. We're not supposed to talk ill about the dead and all of that. It's not about talking bad. We have to call it how it is. My channel is about dating, love, relationship, toxic relationship, advice channel. So I like to put out certain things so people can learn from it and realize, hey, these are the consequences that's going to happen when you do certain things. Yep, so sad. All right, so I'm gonna end this right here. Jack had his closing thought here. What was it saying? Lovely said she wasn't happy and took it too far. Yeah, could be a situation like that. A lot of people married. If you're not happy, what you do is you talk to your partner, go and get some counseling, or break up the marriage and find somebody else. Because sometimes when people cheat, they go out here and it ends up affecting other people. And just like, I don't know, William, if you're still here, you know, it's something he said was just too much for him, and he got it. I'm glad he did, because it could escalate to a point that something could happen to him. Something to think about. Strong said, "Oh, so he hit it, and it drove him crazy." Well, we don't know, Strong, if they did it, but they did meet up. Strong possibility. All I have to say is, if you keep your secrets from your husband, well, what was going on? What was going on? So rest in peace to her. Rest in peace to her husband. I don't care about what happens to this dusty low life. This is, like I said, and I'll say it again, I wish you was alive right now so you could pay for what you did. You are a sorry ass person. You're a sorry human being. Your poor daughter. Well, it's probably better off anyway, because you was a nut. You're a nutcase. All right, so everybody, so thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. If you didn't hit the like, make sure you hit the like, and stay tuned for some more of Donna Just Be Real. And always remember, date smart, not thirsty. Be careful who you out here dating. Be careful of the decisions that you make. But don't walk around here being paranoid, because there's a lot of good people out here. There really is. But you know what? Just use your antennas, use your discernment. When you have that gut feeling that something is not right, when you meet the person, that's usually God telling you to ghost a person. Leave them alone. This is not the one for you. Don't try to force it to try to make a relationship. It's not going to happen. If it's not, it's just not going to happen. So bye, everyone. Date smart, not thirsty.